Conservation Commission meeting for April 26, 2022, 6 p.m. I'm Mark Pimarini. I'm sitting in as the agent tonight. If you want to go ahead.
Sure, thank you, Mark. My name is Chuck Raymond. I am the chair of the commission. I want to introduce yourselves.
Elizabeth Ricci, I'm the vice chair.
Mike Seekey.
Rich Gullick.
All right, thank you. If I could just also, if anybody has, please remind folks, if you have a cell phone with you, if you can make sure that it's on vibrate or off, that'd be greatly appreciated. All right. Let's get going. Under new hearings, I'll go ahead and read these off. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a garage, 1343 Central Street, map and parcels 499-39. Mark, you said that even though we don't number, they did want
to present.
Okay, is there somebody here to represent that project?
Well, I'm the owner and I'm waiting for David Sadowski,
Okay,
the engineer.
Do you want us to move on then?
If that's okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
He said he would be here at 1:15, so.
Okay, understood. No problem. We'll go on, and when he comes in, give me a high sign, and I'll make you the next one.
Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on then, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a solar energy storage system, including associated utilities and driveway. Address 0 Willard Street, map and parcel 500-2, with no DEP file number. Is there somebody here to represent that project?
Yes. Yep. Actually, a file number as well. Tom Corbett.
I'm sorry, you told me. I'm sorry, I take it back. It's 199-1151. I apologize. Yeah, please. Sure. Thank you. And you are, I'm sorry?
Tom Corbett.
Hi,
0
Tom.
Point.
And you with who?
0 Point Development.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Battery.
Okay. You brought your own easel. That's fantastic.
Would you like me to set it up?
Probably over there someplace would be good. The camera can't see it, but oh well.
As I said, Tom Corbett, 0 Point Development, VP Battery Devco. I've also have Chris Anderson here with Hannigan Engineering and Andrea Kendall with LEC Environmental. So this is a battery energy storage system on 0 Willard Street here. Proposing a 20-foot wide access drive into the parcel. There's going to be some interconnection, equipment street side. That's a National Grid interconnect. So this is all in respect to solar. So the whole point of the project is to absorb solar energy that's on the line, discharge it later at night. We have been to planning. We've approved the site plan review there. The associated equipment with the site are battery containers here. Those hold the battery that store the power. We've got inverters next to that, as well as some transformer and a recloser on site inside the fenced-in lot here. We've got some drainage involved here. We've got a berm on the north side that collects all the water and brings it down to the rain garden here. We've got an access gate here in the front, and there's also a side gate here, man door, for fire purposes, fire department purposes, secondary egress. That's kind of the general scope of the project. Concrete pads underneath all the equipment. So there'll be stone around the concrete pads and the respective equipment that's on top of them. Fenced in completely. There'll be a Knox box on the gate for fire department.
I'm sorry, Knox box?
Yeah, so it's just a key for emergency access.
Okay, got it.
Yep.
Okay.
There's some screening up front here, and that's kind of the general scope.
That's the gist?
That's the gist of
Alrighty.
the layout anyway.
All right.
Andrew, you want to speak to the wetlands?
Sure. The main.
I'm sorry, introduce yourself?
Andrea Kendall with LEC, Environmental Consultants.
Okay, thank you.
The main hydrologic feature associated with this site is an intermittent stream and a bordering vegetated wetland that occurs to the east of the site. It's the area in light green. The intermittent stream flows north into a pond, and then once at the outlet of that pond is where the stream becomes perennial, but it's located a few hundred feet down gradient. There are the wetland system here where it comes up in a finger is more of a speckled alder thicket, but then once it gets down next to the stream system, it's more of a forested red maple wetland. Generally speaking, the wetland occurs at the toe of a fill slope, except in this stretch, but then it occurs along this hillside slope here.
So the darker green is all upland, more or less?
It's upland, wooded. There are two small isolated pockets. This looks like it receives just runoff from the roadway, and it collects here. And then similarly, there is an existing paved, is it paved or gravel? I think it's paved.
Yeah.
Paved, thank
There's some
you.
gravel on the side of this road.
Correct, yeah, paved access drive around this building that occurs on site, and it looks like some of the runoff goes in there. The site, do you want to talk about the AUL in terms of some of the past land use? The site's been previously disturbed, subject to an AUL, so there are some fill features on the property that's kind of created.
What was the AUL in relation to, you know?
I don't, next person.
Next person, thank you.
Sorry.
I'm sorry, introduce yourself.
Yeah, Chris Anderson with Handy Engineering.
Thank you.
So as Andrew was saying, there is an AUL on the property. It's primarily associated with just general dirty soil that was placed on the site
From previous site use?
for previous site use in other areas surrounding the area. It's generally stable, so part of the AUL is you can't disturb anything from 3 feet to 8 feet down. So it's a very isolated pocket of soil that's contaminated. So as part of the overall site design, what we're doing is we're not cutting into that more than like 6 inches. So we're not impairing the integrity of the AUL, so that's pretty much remaining.
My question, okay.
Yep. I guess that leads into the civil perspective of everything, but as was stated, you have a 20-foot access gravel drive that'll come in. We're constructing a berm around the outer perimeter of the site, which effectively shields the isolated wetland and the other abutting bordering vegetated wetland off locus from stormwater impact. So you're building a slight berm around the entire site. This pushes all the water into a rain garden feature located to the east of the actual solar battery site itself. We did do soil testing. We do have the required offset to groundwater, and it's generally sandy material, so it's very advantageous for this kind of use. And granted that it is a low impact project, there's not a lot of impervious that you typically see on other projects. The rain garden is a much more advantageous unit because it blends with the natural topography and provides a little bit more of a green space feature than anything else. Besides that, erosion control, straw walls and silt fence around the perimeter, and the outer perimeter outside of the berm will be loam seeded with a wildlife conservation seed mix to get that area restabilized. And everything else interior to the site will be loam and seeded with typical landscape lawn grass that'll be regularly maintained. But that's effectively the project.
Good. You guys all set then?
I think we're all set.
Okay, good, thank you. I just have a few questions. So I think you all kind of alluded to the fact that it's currently vacant, but there had been a previous site use.
The site is vacant in this portion of the site.
Right.
There is the existing building with the access drives, but this site has effectively revegetated itself. So it's full of invasives and others, not desirable plants. But
Well, I guess what I was getting at was because in relation to the subsurface contamination in the AUL, so obviously there must have been some kind of industrial site use prior to this.
yeah, more like a pit, but yes.
More pit, okay. That's fine. So in relation to you said the AUL doesn't allow you to disturb anything from 3 to 8 feet down in a certain part of that site.
Correct.
How is that how does the rain garden affect that at all?
The rain garden is located outside of that.
The
area.
outside of there? Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So that's why as you see now, we're directing as much of the runoff away from this area
Right.
as possible, which is why the berm's there, and that's why we push the rain garden down to the local portion of the
So,
site.
so the berm will basically catch all that runoff and direct it to the rain garden?
Correct.
Okay, all right. In terms of the solar facility itself, I'm vaguely familiar with solar facilities, but is there any kind of hazardous waste, not waste, hazardous materials associated with the?
No, there is not.
Okay.
No. They're
big old
solid state
PCB
batteries
oils.
and there's no liquid in them or anything.
Okay, great. And what's the closest point to the BVW there? Aside from the two little tiny pockets, I
Down.
guess it'd be that finger there on the right? Yeah, in there somewhere.
This little thing right here, and we're looking at maybe 25, 30 meters.
Okay, but that's outside the berm.
Yeah, so everything in this area, minus the return to grade sloping, is directed into this.
Into the rain
And
garden.
then you have the small discharge for the rain garden itself.
Okay. All right, those are the only questions I had. I'll give it to Liz, the vice chair. Do you have any questions?
No, I think you kind of asked it. I was just wondering if, where the water was being directed, rain and such, but
So you're all
yeah,
set?
I'm all
Okay.
set.
All right, Michael?
Nope.
That's it. Rich?
So you said what's buried there was batteries, nothing liquid? Is that correct? What was left there under the soil?
We just know it's contaminated as well.
So is this some kind of fuel oil, what does it do with it?
I don't know that actual feature, but we know that it's,
So the ongoing remediation is just to leave it there?
yes.
There's no active remediation involved there? Okay. I'm sorry, Rich, go ahead.
It's okay. It'd be nice to know what it is though, that,
Yeah, I'm sure we can find out, but yeah, I don't think, it'd be nice to know, but I don't think it's too germane to what we're doing.
not necessarily our wetland, but,
Right, yeah.
you expect no impact on the wetland, is that correct? Or not wetland, but the buffer area, I should say.
Not too much. It's pretty much an invasive pile of vegetation right now. So by putting at least the conservation seed mix on the outer perimeter, at least giving it some more naturalized plant life. But if you go out there now, it's full of bramble and other not pleasant plants.
Typical abandoned lot.
Effectively, yeah.
Okay. Alrighty. No, sorry. Okay.
Yes.
All right. With that, I'll open up to the public. If there's anybody here that would like to ask any questions or say anything about the project, please do so. But please, before you do that, please state your name and address. Yes. Yeah. Go ahead. Can you state your name
490 Willard,
and your name?
Dan Weston.
Hi, Dan. Sure. Go ahead.
Did you do any kind of wildlife study?
We didn't do a wildlife study, that's not necessarily required as part of the application. We've been working in the buffer zone, so, no.
Okay. Do you do any? Answer your question.
There's some things out there like Blanding's turtles, Jefferson salamanders, 3-leaf milkweed. There's a vernal pool not too far from it.
There's nothing mapped by natural heritage for estimated or wildlife habitat or other areas. So based on that, we're not required to coordinate further with them. If there were any, regarding any mapped off-site vernal pools, we're not working in the vernal pool habitat. Which is confined to, if it's within a BVW, it's just confined to the limits of the BVW. So, this is a previously disturbed early successional growth area that work is occurring in. So, it's a standard buffer zone project.
Okay, so to your knowledge, there is no map state vernal pool on or next to the site?
Correct, there's nothing mapped on in terms of off. I don't have that information in front of me, but in putting together the notice of intent application, I usually state if there's anything somewhat proximate. So this is a stream system, so within proximate to the site, there's nothing Well, on-site, there's no certified vernal pools.
Did that answer your question? It may not be the better answer you want, but answer the question anyway.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Rich, were you just up there for FYI? kind of
Yes,
thing?
I could read it.
I do have a question now.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
What kind of, you said there's fencing around the area, what kind of fencing?
Yep, so it's gonna be a chain link,
Chain link.
7-foot chain link, yep.
Okay, all right.
Anybody else have any questions about or comments about the project? All right, good. All right, well, so with that, I'll go and close the public hearing, public portion of the hearing. Mark, do you have anything for us?
No, well, you need a site visit, right? Yeah, assuming you perform a site visit.
Yeah, we probably want a site visit, so this is the first time we've seen it, so it would be nice to have a site visit.
I don't know.
No, it's okay. Now, Angela would try to send a doodle poll or something to try to schedule us. Is that something you can do?
I can try.
Okay, yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
Sometime next week.
Could we just try to schedule it now while we're here and they're here? Make our life real easy?
I suppose we could.
Sure.
That means we all pull out our cell phone.
Great, pull out the calendars, get down to work. Figure out when's good.
So ideally, it's before the next hearing.
Next year would be the 10th.
Yeah.
Next hearing is the 10th, correct. It's second and fourth Tuesday, so yes. I think maybe sometime next week.
Wednesday? Open? Who thinks they might make it?
If it's first thing in the morning, I can make it on Wednesday. May 4th. No.
One of you out? No?
Hmm?
Yes? May 4th?
May the 4th be with you? Sorry,
Right.
had to do it.
Works for me.
We just need one of you there to show us.
Yeah.
All right, so 5, 4, and what did we say a time? 9?
9's good for me. Good for you guys?
Okay.
And this was listed as 0 Willard Street.
Correct.
Right.
What's the cross street that's right there? I saw one on
That's
there.
Wedgewood.
Wedge, thank you.
It's right next to 554 Willard Street. You can park in that driveway, 554.
You said the cross street's Wedgewood?
Yep.
Okay.
The part of Jamestown?
No.
It's after Jamestown. You go past Jamestown.
Okay, we'll see you next Wednesday morning. I won't repeat the pun.
You know you want to. Yes.
Hi, Mr. Chairman. My name is Dave Sadowski. I was a little bit late. I'm here for the proposed garage at 13.
Yeah, we're gonna, you were late, so these guys we'll go back to you after this.
Okay.
Just about done.
I heard you say they could go, so I thought it was done.
All right, so site visit next Tuesday at 9, at
Wednesday.
0, what did I say, Tuesday?
You did. Wednesday, May 4th.
Sorry,
It's okay.
I wrote down Tuesday and meant Wednesday. Thank you. All right, super. All right, so we'll see you, as many of us as possible, we'll see you folks next Wednesday morning.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
No, it's still open.
Continuing.
Still okay,
Yeah.
okay. Okay, you said close, that's why.
Well, I just closed the public hearing.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys, appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll go, I will go ahead and read the first one. Thank you for showing up. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a garage at 1343 Central Street, map and parcels 499-39. I understand there's no file number, but you did want to open the hearing, is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
All right. Floor is yours.
Hi, for the record, my name is Dave Sadowski. I'm the principal of DJ and Associates. We're out of Clinton, Massachusetts. Along with me tonight is the dentist that owns that property, Dr. Mazzaros, Dr. Mark Mazzaros. what he wants to do is put a private garage in the back of his property. He's got an RV, and he's got some classic vehicles, and he'd like the house closed. I've sent some larger plans and some smaller ones, and I have an additional larger plan with me. Also, we got an email from Mia yesterday, the circuit rider, and she wanted more calculations put together. We put those calculations together along with a stormwater checklist, but she hasn't had a chance to see them. I'd like to formally submit. I've got original stamped, the whole drainage and hydrology for the 2, the 10, the 25, and the 100-year storm. And that's the drainage report that goes with it. We ran out of time. I was trying to print the checklist, and I looked up and saw how late it was, so I'll bring those over tomorrow or whenever I can get them, and I'll electronically send everything to Mia, and I'll electronically send it to this office.
Wonderful. Do you want him to send it to you personally, Mark, or how do you want to do that?
You can send it to the office here.
Okay.
All right, very good. If I can open up the plan, I don't have any easel with me.
That's okay, we've all got,
this one.
Right.
Mark was nice enough to hand out hard copies. So.
Right now, the dentist, he owns the property. There's an existing driveway that goes down and goes around the back. He's got his RV parked, up against the building, his existing house. That's the dentist office now in this area. There's nobody living in the building. What he'd like to do is, at the end of this driveway, come across here and put a garage in this area. That would house the RV, and he has some classic cars that could go in there also. This wouldn't be used for any of his patients. It wouldn't even be used for employees. It would be something just for storage, so he could get his vehicles out of, the elements. Now, there is an intermittent brook that is behind the property. It's been flagged. There's a little bit of wetland that's associated with it. We have a 25-foot no-build line that we put in, we put our straw wattle and hay bale at. Then we have some grading. The garage is about 40 to 44 feet away from the buffer of the wetland, the intermittent brook in the back. We have an overflow basin that will handle all the runoff from the building itself. You can see there's 2 lines that go down to it, and there's an oval shape. We've done testing in that area, and we've been very liberal with what the percolation rate would be down through the basin itself.
That's this right here, near the...
That's that right in that area there. So these, you can see the leader that goes from here and here, I put over here, down in this area. Let's see, oh, you have an older plan. I might be, let me present you with this one. This is one that was updated. It shows the detention area over in here, and it shows the feed from the roofs. Do you have one of the updated ones? No? No, you have an old one also from the file. There were plans that were brought and given to Angela. There was 2 of them that were large size. Oh, maybe this is one of them.
Okay,
and
there's
this
2
is
large
one.
and they got them right here.
Yeah, so these are the 2 here. So anyways, I'll submit this one to the office.
Okay.
This is the area where previously we didn't have this on the old plan. We didn't have any type of storage area. We've changed the plans to include the storage area here to capture the rooftop runoff and come into this area with the emergency overflow to go down in here. The brook itself is up in this area, and pretty much the edge of where the intermittent brook is the wetland. There are flags that are hung. We also did this property over here about 4 years ago. So we were familiar with what's there for the wetland area. I'm open for any questions.
I don't have any particular questions. It's reasonably straightforward. Liz, do you have any questions?
So it looks like there's no additional paving?
No. All the pavement that's there is already existing. We just drive around the back of the building and put everything in the private garage. But since it's a commercial piece, it's a commercial garage, even though it's just storage of personal items.
Yeah, good question. Thanks, Liz.
That was a real good one.
You all set?
I think so.
Okay. Michael?
All set.
Richard, straightforward.
I'd look at it if we had a site visit, but other than that,
Okay.
see it in life instead of paper.
Yeah, no, that's better see in person, I agree. Okay, so as the commission has no questions, I'll open it up to the public. If anybody here has any questions about the project or would like to state a comment, please do so, but state your name and address first. Okay. When we're doing these online, I had to do that 3 times. I guess I don't think I have to do that here in person, so that's good. Good. Now, did you say you're gonna be submitting some additional material tomorrow, which means we can?
I could give the stormwater checklist tomorrow. I have it electronically, I just don't have the hard copy.
No, that's
for you.
fine, that's fine. So we'll have to continue it for you to file all the material,
Okay,
and we'll, try to get on the agenda.
all right. Do you want to do a site visit?
Yeah, love to see.
Sure.
Can we schedule it Wednesday after you do the other group?
Absolutely.
How's that? One in order, and then we'll go to the next one.
Around the corner.
Would we say 10 o'clock, if you're going to the other one for 9, would that give you time to get over to this one?
Yeah, should.
Or 9:30.
9:30 would be fine, we'll be ready at 9:30.
How about 9:30 and be patient if we're a couple moments late, but we shouldn't be.
That's all the dentist has is patience.
See?
That's good. That's better than the middle force.
We're full puns
Yeah, the
tonight.
fourth to be with you was kind of
This is gonna be really fun. Good time.
Okay, so about 9:30 on Wednesday, May 4th, we'll have a site visit.
Excellent,
Come out to the dentist's office and look at the garage spot. Thank you.
thank you so much.
In the wetland. Beautiful.
All right, good.
Thank you.
See you there.
I'm wondering that, you gentlemen look at it. Let me take that with me in case I make a, yeah, I can recycle it. Also, the one with the detention basin, how many copies usually come into the commission?
Honestly, I don't know. Andrew would answer that. Do you know, Mark?
Copies? Yeah, usually 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, so maybe I should, I know I submitted one right now for the gentleman to look at, maybe I'll take that back and I'll make a couple more copies of that one. Then when I come in with the rest of the stormwater checklist, I'll give you the plan also. You can have those.
Oh, okay.
This one.
Oh, that plan, you mean?
Yeah, it's the detention basin.
I think that's the old one, isn't it?
Yep, it is. Nope. This is the detention basin right there.
Yep.
All right, thank you very much for your time tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm looking to continue this jocularity and puns for the rest of the night, so let's see what you can do. All right, moving on to continued hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a garage with associated driveway and site grading. Address 689 Wachusett Street, Leominster, Mass. Map and parcel 351-1K, DEP file number 199-1145, and I assume you're here to speak on the matter.
In person. You guys virtually, right? Wesley Fliss, Whitman Bingham Associates.
I'm sorry, your first name?
Wesley Fliss.
Hi, Wesley.
We're a division of Haley Ward. With me this evening is Mr. Pearl, also the applicant on the project.
Okay.
And so at the last meeting, we were asked for additional information with regards to the chicken coop.
Chicken coop, right, okay.
And so on the plan in front, on the front sheet, I show the relocated location, which we showed you at the last meeting. And since then, we submitted to the commission through Angela a couple pictures of what the applicant intends to do. The first one is with regards to the outside structure, not the roof. Don't look at the roof. The second would be what he intends to do with the roof, and it would be a metal roof, because I know there's concern about
Oh, I see.
the runoff going through the coop and washing out the chicken feces into the adjacent wetlands. And so there's gonna be a solid roof over the coop, such that, hopefully eliminates or minimize the amount of runoff going through that coop. I know that was a big concern at the last meeting. And so that was the last two items that we were asked for, and so that's what we're submitting, of those two pictures to give you a representation of what the applicant intends to do on that coop.
Okay. All right, well, I think that you all set? Okay.
Yeah, I think we've,
I think that addresses the questions that I had anyway. I can't speak for the rest of the commission. I'll open up to them in a second here. But all right, so there will be that solid edging around the coop.
Yes.
So all right, and then there'll be a metal roof over it.
correct.
Okay. All right. Liz, do you have any questions or further
No,
comments?
it's just a very fancy chicken coop.
It is a fancy chicken coop. You're right.
I'm kind of jealous.
You're all set?
Yes.
Okay. Michael?
And this would be completed prior to the
construction of the garage, correct?
Probably at the same time. He's doing the work in the garage, you're probably doing everything at the same time.
Whatever step you want us to take, I mean, the coop first and then the garage, or?
Yeah, I think it'd be probably better since our objection here was the coop. If you could do the coop first,
Okay.
then the garage, that'd be fine.
I'm waiting for my turn.
Are you all set, Mike?
I am.
Rich?
I still didn't like it in the wetland area where it is.
Yeah.
That could flood very easily,
Yeah.
I think, without studying that. Are there walls on it?
You can see there aren't solid walls to it. It's gonna be all the fencing, or the mesh.
It's a mesh or it's
It's a chicken wire.
It's a chicken wire, so it's not waterproof.
No.
Yes, the rain would go right.
If it's raining sideways, yes.
Yeah, I would not like that, given there's a drinking water reservoir below there. I still would like it out of that wetland area. Have either of you gotten over to see the
I have
site?
not yet, no.
We've both seen them.
Along those lines, Wesley, question.
Yep.
Elevation difference, I could probably,
4 feet.
4 feet from the edge of the wetlands to the,
So we see the elevation 94 is the low point.
okay.
And then we're proposing where it is, so we can actually bring the elevation up to this at a 98.
Okay.
So that's over a 4 foot difference. And I know that after, I think, I want to say 3 meetings ago now, when the initial comment came up, I had a chance to walk the property with Mr. Perla, we looked at it, and that's what we're looking at. We could see where, I think you saw the staining of the water from the winter, when we had the winter melts.
Yeah.
And it was around that elevation of 94, in this, kind of in this back corner of the coop, adjacent to the shed there.
Yeah.
And so that's what we're looking at. If we bring it up closer to the wall, we can bring an elevation underneath the coop up to a 98, which is 4 feet higher than there. So,
Mr. Pearl, may I ask you a question?
Sure.
How long have you been in this house?
Since 97.
Okay, so in those 25 years, have you had flooding up to the retaining wall at all?
No,
No.
never.
You never had rising water up to the retaining wall?
No.
Okay. All right. So the commission's also with, are there anybody here from the public that has any questions on the project? Please state your name and address. Okay. We'll go ahead and close the public portion of the hearing. This is, yeah, go ahead.
Can I ask another question? How can we be sure that the poop's not gonna just be left down in that lower area and that's actually hauled up the hill, which would take more effort? How is there?
When it's
Well, it
cleaned
has to
out?
be cleaned out eventually.
Yeah.
Unless it's washing away, it has to eventually get.
What are the plans for cleaning out the shed on a periodic basis?
To clean up the existing coop?
No,
No, ongoing maintenance with this new coop.
I clean it every week.
But then, since that material you clean out is full of chicken feces, what do you then do with that?
I compost it on the other side of my property in my garden. Like,
Okay,
like all my other neighbors do with their coops.
okay. And that's up on the other side of the property,
Yep,
away from the wetlands?
yep,
Okay, in the garden?
yep,
Okay.
all on the other side.
Okay.
That would all be a more protective area
Yeah.
than being down in the
Yeah.
slow spot below this retaining wall.
Yeah,
And again.
is there a particular reason you want that spot for the coop? Is that simply because that's where you built it and you have to keep it where it is, or is there something keeping you from
Kind of
moving?
hidden down there, it's like down, my retaining wall's there, I don't see it from my house. I mean, if I put it up there, then I see it. It's my neighbor's there, and I have a rooster, and he's a little loud.
It's also a shady spot in the yard, rather than having the direct sun,
I mean, it's been
The
there
roof
for
over it, it wouldn't make any difference.
15 years, I mean, I've never had a problem. There's
metal
never,
roof could get hot.
Huh?
Metal roof could get hot,
All right,
I mean, Ralph Person lives down the street, we both have chickens, we're in the same situation, I mean, never had problems, and he's right next to the,
I'm sorry, he's right next to what?
Club pond there,
I missed you, he's right next to what?
Sportsman's Club, where the pond is.
Oh, okay. All right. Mark, is there anything in the file from Angela in terms of her thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, I don't believe there was. Yeah, all it was this, no,
Okay, just a notice, okay, all right. Of the options we've gotten so far, this seems to be the best option. Of the options we've seen so far, I think ultimately the best option is to move to the other side of the house. Now, I'm not a chicken rancher. What is the problem with having the coop in the sun?
I'm not sure there is a problem, it is, it's just the animals, and
Okay.
keep them out of the elements.
Because honestly, it seems that the best of all worlds here is to just move the chicken coop up to the other side of the property, away from the wetlands.
There's wetlands all over the property though.
What's that?
The wetlands encompass the back of the property.
Oh, go all the way around?
We just don't show it because we're not doing any work within
But
it.
the elevation is quite a bit different. I mean,
It's still, the wetlands wraps the property.
Okay.
It wraps the back of the property and goes out to the abutting property.
It's elevated up above. I understand why Mr. Pearl might not necessarily want to put it up there because it's a nice looking lawn and it's more out of sight where it is. I get that.
Side, I mean, my neighbors are over that way. I don't have neighbors to my, if I'm looking at the street to my left, I mean, it's non-buildable. I mean, it's the best place for them, period, in my opinion.
High temperatures are not good for chickens, so,
Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
because you figure water and the water itself too could start to evaporate. If it's too hot, they won't drink.
Okay.
Cooler for them.
All right. Now, my only concern now is if somebody were to make a motion to approve this, I'm not sure if Angela had any special conditions that she was thinking about. That's what's going through my head, aside from boilerplate.
Did she tell you she was all set?
Yeah, from what she told us, everything was all set.
Is that right?
At least from the garage
That's the information we got.
The only thing that she left for me, at least message to me, was take care of
No,
this.
honestly, our only issue was the chicken coop. I'm not sure if Angela had any other special conditions along.
And I think it's conditioning maybe the sequence of construction, and then maybe where the waste goes when it's cleaned up. I would think probably that just hearing what the comments are, the two conditions that would need to be put onto it.
I'm not sure any of us should speak on behalf of what Angela said, because what we heard was something different than what you gentlemen are reporting. I heard from her that she opposed this concept of the chicken coop down below there,
Okay.
as I did when I saw it.
Okay. Yeah.
It's just not the right spot for a chicken coop to be.
Well, I guess
Above our watershed, above our drinking water reservoir right there.
if that were the case, I mean, there's no regulation saying we can't do the chicken coop in the buffer zone. I mean, where's the argument that we can't put the chicken coop in the buffer zone? We've done everything you've asked. We've moved it away from the wetlands, where it was right on top of the wetlands before. We moved it to higher ground that's 4 feet higher than the wetlands. That area's not gonna flood. It's not in the floodplain. It's 4 feet higher than wetlands. Mr. Perlis would live there since '97.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 25 years. And if you go out there in the wintertime when we had a pretty decent melt and rain, you can see the water standing. You can see it wasn't even close to being that high, completely near the wall. It's not gonna get that high.
Okay.
And if you want to,
It
you
was
can.
running up against the wall, directly against the wall, a little down from there, what I saw, the water. I believe it was right up against it. I think I have photos.
I can tell you, we observed the site the day after that meeting. I met Mr. Perlo on the site, and I went before the meeting. I have never seen the water that high. All right, was there snow melt? Yeah, there was snow melt. Because when the snow melted, we got a fair amount of rain right after all that snow melt, so the ground was wet. Yeah, but it definitely wasn't coming up from the wetlands. It's not in the floodplain.
Okay.
I mean, I don't understand how the client has done everything they've asked. We put a new coop in with a solid roof next to the wall. The water does not come off that wall. It's graded away from that area. I mean, what regulation would we be held to that they can't put a coop next to that wall within the buffer zone?
That's not even near where the, supposed to be the runoff goes. It's on the other side of that.
And I understand your concern, and that's why we've been trying to give you the solid roof.
It's precipitation and it's the general proximity and picturing the poop all winter long, frankly, I'm not ready to accept that it's not gonna end up in the water that's flowing by there and coming down in the reservoir. Of all the things I've seen since I joined this commission, that is the one that stuck in my mind is what our purpose is to stop the poop from getting in the drinking water.
That's what we're doing. We're putting a solid roof over a structure.
It gets cleaned.
And the runoff's
twice
not
a
coming
week.
off that wall toward that coop.
Okay.
Unless it's raining sideways. And how many times a year does that happen? Not very many when it rains. Even now, it's raining, but it's not raining sideways right now. It's gonna hit the roof and come off and sheet off away from the coop. And as Mr. Perla said, he cleans it every week. And puts the poop up near his garden, which is out of the buffer zone, at least out of this buffer zone. And if that needs to be a condition of approval, Mr. Perla has no issue doing that.
And you're the gentleman's gonna be,
Yes, I'll be building it.
okay, I'm sorry, your name was?
Tom Chesney.
Hi, Tom, thank you. Is there some way, I'm just looking at this photograph here of the metal roof. Doesn't look like there's much of an overhang here. Is there some
Well,
way?
that's really not a part of the structure.
I
I mean, it's just
understand,
something
I understand, but is there some way, much of an overhang? You got the
No,
wall.
normally I give it 8 inches to a foot overhang.
Okay,
Go more, right?
Yeah. And it could go more.
okay,
But a foot usually gets the water far enough away from any building, you
okay.
know?
Would 18 inches be out of the question?
Not if that's what you guys would like, I mean.
All right then. This is a challenging project, mostly because it came in after the fact. Before the fact, it would have been a different issue. Or been a little easier anyway. So I will toss out there and we'll see where the cards may lay. Do I have a motion at all to approve this proposal as presented with at least one special condition of an 18-inch overhang of the roof from the edge of the supports?
I'll make that motion.
Make that motion. Is there a second? I'll second. Can the chair second? I don't know if the chair can second. I haven't done it before.
I think so.
I'll second.
We ran into this issue. Same thing.
All right, so all those opposed? So we have 2-2. I've never been in this situation
How does that
before.
work?
It's a denial.
Is it denial? Correct, okay. All right,
And when's your fifth member back?
I know, right?
Can't believe he was coming tonight.
Yeah, I thought Jeff was gonna be here. So with that then, I think you've heard our continued objections to this. It sounds like the way to resolve this is to move the chicken coop up out of that area.
I can't do that. I'll end up killing them before I do that. Can't do that.
No, I'm sorry, but you know so that's a result. But that's we've got a 2-2 tie.
So when's your fifth member back?
I'm sorry.
When's the fifth member in? Is the fifth member at the next meeting? You said?
I thought he was gonna be here tonight.
Okay. All right.
So
Can we request a continuance till the next meeting?
you may.
Okay.
So continuance to the May 10th meeting.
Yeah, you can suggest that my fellow commissioners go out and look at the site, so you can make a more informed decision on this, please look.
Yep.
Okay? Don't do it
It's
just.
been going on since.
And if you say this way or that way, whatever, but look at it.
Mr. Perla.
The only question I have to the commission is what regulation would be being held to that says we can't put a chicken coop in the wetlands, the buffer zone to the wetlands? Because there isn't one. And that's all I ask, is that we are being regulated by the regulations that we're.
Okay. So we will research that and we'll, yeah.
My understanding of being a bit of a rookie at this, mind you, is that it's within our authority within the buffer zone to accept or deny potential pollution sources. Outside of the 100 feet, we cannot. We have no jurisdiction whatsoever. Within that, within the actual resource, it absolutely is assumed to be that there would be an impact of something. But within the buffer zone, it is up to the commission's determination whether there is or is not an is my understanding.
Okay.
And that's, would fall under the Wetlands Act.
Mr. Pearl, I have not been out to the site myself. Would you object if I have some time this week, just stop up by myself?
Anytime, I'm around.
Okay. I will be out there sometime this week.
But you gotta let me know so I can meet you there.
Okay. How do I do that?
Take my phone number or email me, whatever you wanna do.
Which phone?
978-580-1238.
And try to get Jeff out, since he may be a deciding vote.
Yeah.
It really helped these guys,
Okay.
you know, to do that.
Okay.
So, on May 10th, what's gonna happen?
Well, I will hopefully, Jeff and I will get out there. No, Jeff wasn't at this. Yeah, well, hopefully the missing commissioner, he and I will be able to get out there, whether it's probably not together, probably individually. I'll give him your contact information. And that we'll probably have to redo this hearing again when Jeff comes next time.
Understandable.
And then we'll have another vote. And
Was he at the first meeting, Jeff? I'm just kidding.
All good, there have been a few of these.
yeah, this is probably the,
See him.
So he can't do the,
Yeah.
okay.
right. So, that's where we are. All right.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thank you.
All right, moving on then. Thank you all for your time on that. I really appreciate it. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Mass Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the removal of a fixed dock and replace it with a floating dock. Address 27 Elm Street, American Parcel 121-5, and there's no DEP file number. So we'll have to continue this again. Is there anything else?
I did, there was nothing in any of these files.
Yeah, this has been on our agenda. Can't even tell you how long.
Nobody's here for it.
Well, there's no file number, so. I'll ask anybody here to present on the matter? No?
Thank you.
Could I have a second?
You may.
I believe we're experiencing some confusion over the application, I think it's chapter 91.
Yeah.
Which is, which rules on the applicability or the use of docks within waterways in the state of Massachusetts. However, it's conditioned to be applicable only to great ponds or large rivers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that Rockwell Pond or Lake Samoset are under the jurisdiction, and I don't think they'll get a DEP number because I just don't think that they have the time to be able to rule on that.
Okay.
And many of the towns have a harbor master. Usually the police chief is a harbor master, and I think we ought to look into that to make this process easier.
Okay. Mark, is there something that you?
Well, I looked online, for, looking for the DEP file number, and it did say in there for this one, incomplete application, and it says they need to file a BRP WPA Form 3, which I think has to do with the chapter 9.
Chapter 9.
Yeah.
So how can we resolve Michael's question? Is it, Mark, is this something you can reach out to the DEP circuit rider on?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Yeah, so this thing is, I don't know how long it's been on the agenda. I'd like to either get it off or resolve it and get it off.
Yeah, there's gonna be other ones, because in Samoset, there's 2 or 3 that are under repair.
Mm-hmm.
And,
I'll reach out.
They're just replacing a dock, it's not a new one, it should be
No,
pretty.
it's all process has to go through,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
yeah, you're right.
You should be able to move it through the process then,
Right.
like you're saying.
Like Lancaster has the police chief is a harbor master.
Okay.
And just if there's no objections for fire safety or other reasons, then you put it in.
Mark, do you know who they quote unquote harbor master here is? You find out that would be helpful too, yeah.
Yeah, it'd be great, we may have to keep you around. So to speak.
You have nothing else.
I'm around anyway.
You have nothing else to do, do you? All right, so moving on from that one, okay. So the next one, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, The Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the construction of a roadway extension, grading, stormwater management, and landscaping within the 100-foot buffer zone to BVW. Address Marcello Ave, Leominster, Mass. Map and parcel, oh, here we go. 244-46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, and 53. DP file number 199-1148, and I assume you're here to present on the matter.
I am. Good evening. For the record, Brian Goodrow with Hancock Associates. So we're here, or I am here before you for North Star Family Services, and we continued the last public hearing for sidewalk, and we conducted that. Basically, we walked around, took a look at the wetlands, looked at topography.
Stand up there and kind of, so we can hear you. Certainly, thank you.
So during the sidewalk, we walked from Marcello Avenue across the proposed project, through the wetland area, down by the railroad tracks, and then kind of looped back up through the apartment building. We talked about stormwater management, groundwater, topography, site, ground cover in the existing condition, proposed condition. I'll be happy to walk through any of the design details. In high-level overview, essentially what we're doing with respect to stormwater management is we're taking the end of Marcello Avenue, we're now conveying it to new stormwater
Nice
treatment
just to come to
practices.
this side so they can look past you to the picture.
So the end of Marcello Avenue, creating new stormwater management practices where it currently sheets off the end of the road unmitigated, we're picking it up with catch basins and piping into a treatment structure where it will ultimately discharge to the wetlands down by the railroad tracks. On-site development is mitigated by an infiltration basin. Erosion control has been established. It's a combination of bales and silt fence. There was a brief discussion about a concern about potential groundwater. We have done soil testing with kind of all across the site. It was conducted as a part of the 2012 subdivision that was ultimately approved and conditioned by the commission that found texture to be sandy loam and groundwater to be anywhere from 2 to 2.5 feet down. We've taken that into consideration with this design, and anywhere that we're cutting, we're balancing it with a fill in the areas that are predominantly fill our stormwater management to make sure that we meet our DEP required offsets to groundwater. The entire design of the site was peer reviewed by the city, and we went through a series of revisions with the ZBA, with commentary from DPW, fire, police, all the relevant departments, and what you see before you has been kind of that back and forth plan. With that said, I'm happy to dive into any details. I know that was a high level, and it's been a couple of weeks since we've discussed the project, but if there are questions, I'm happy to answer them.
No, so yeah, so I was on the sidewalk, so this is the first area since that sidewalk, correct? Okay, all right. Yeah, no, I don't have any additional questions over what we discussed before. Liz, do you have anything?
Not at this time.
Okay. Michael? Sure. Rich?
Can you explain for us again the that you mentioned with the DEP in terms of the groundwater level?
Sure.
And what you're trying to do with that or not?
Right. So the groundwater level relates to stormwater management. When we design stormwater management practices, we have to deal with kind of two different things. One being the underlying texture for infiltration, and then groundwater offset. So we need
permeability when you're
permeability,
not texture permeability. Then.
Right.
Okay.
But we base our permeability on a Rawls rate, which is based on texture. So the way that we design the system on this specific site is we're basically maintaining the existing grade and then berming up the sides to create an infiltration basin. And what that does is allows us to maintain the 2-foot offset to groundwater. And the area that we've done that is kind of on the south side. So topographically, we have the high side to the north, low side where the wetlands reside to the south. We're kind of cutting into the middle of the site with the extension of Marcello. We're filling the southern portion and raising it up to create our stormwater management, and then setting our building and parking lot kind of into the slope.
Are you saying the retention basin then is really just, it's the fill that you're putting in as part of the construction?
Generally speaking, yes. It's
Not a
on
separate, like Doug's dry well or gallery, I mean?
Yeah, so it's an infiltration basin, so it's open to the air.
Can you point to that infiltration
Yeah,
basin?
absolutely. It's,
And your arm's covering, I can't see it.
let's go to this side. I apologize, it's right
Down, so, all right.
right in this area.
It's basically like a rain collection.
Correct.
Right, correct.
Yep.
Okay. Nothing underneath the ground.
Nothing
Purely
underground.
surface.
It's all, yeah, it's
Okay,
surface
drainage.
drainage.
Yeah.
That's a different concept than I was thinking there, which is, I'm not.
Yeah, it's not a tank or anything like that, yeah.
Yeah, no,
That's what I was somehow picturing that.
Yeah, because of the groundwater offset, it'd be a little challenging to put it underground.
So the offset is that you have supposedly have to keep a certain amount of soil above the season high level?
Exactly. So what we do is we set the bottom of the practice. So when you visually see the basin, it'll be a depression. The bottom of the basin is 2 feet above the groundwater elevation. And that 2 foot separation allows for any kind of,
Groundwater as of when though? I mean,
seasonal high. So we base our groundwater testing on redoxymorphic features. It's oxidization and reduction of soil. So we see like red spots, they used to be called mottles, or like rusting, essentially. And over time, as the groundwater fluctuates, it becomes saturated, and then it's exposed to oxygen. So you get these redox features, and that's how you determine where the groundwater is the highest point during
you're reading it based on where you've seen.
exactly, and it's developed over many, many, many years.
Okay. Was there anything else from the site visit that we were? It was just a generally wet site and very wet down below.
Down below, yeah, well, it was a wet day when we were there anyway.
It was a wet, yeah, it was a wet time period.
Yeah.
It was raining.
It was raining. You're all sorry.
I think so, yeah. And well, again, what's our specific receptor area that we're concerned with? In terms of the wetland or the?
So stormwater management here, and then the wetlands are kind of all along.
Is that lower bottom part?
Exactly.
Kind of pretty much undevelopable?
Yes.
Undevelopable down there? The water's gonna get there one way or the other.
It's downhill.
All right, finished, thank you.
Okay, good. All right, nothing else from the commission. I'll open up to the public. If there's anybody who'd like to ask any questions or speak on the topic, please do so. But please state your name and address before you do.
Janice Leduc, and I live at 13 Kinsman Ave, which is at the top of the hill. And the groundwater in the spring is right at our cellar floor. And we run 2 sump pumps. In fact, we still have 2 sump pumps running. There's that much groundwater. My other question was, they Zoomed the zoning board meeting, and evidently from where Marcello is an accepted street into where this project is going to be, they're treating it like it was a driveway. And it only has to be, I think, 26 feet wide. But someone said if anybody developed the property past that point, they would have to reconsider and make the road 36 inch wide, which I assume is what's the standard. So they would be cutting into the wetlands another 10 feet. I just don't know if you people and the zoning people, and you get so many people involved in this thing, I don't know if the left hand knows what the right hand is doing.
I'm laughing with you, ma'am. I can't understand. I have no clue what the zoning board has said about anything.
Brian, did you, Angela may have been to the zoning board, but I don't know about that. Brian, do you have any comment on the width of the street?
Certainly. So we are proposing a 24-foot wide driveway, essentially, the end of Marcello Avenue.
Versus the 36 feet that she was understood?
Correct.
Okay.
So subdivision standards state, I don't know if it's 36 feet, maybe it's 32.
I think it's 32.
I think it's 32.
I think there was 10 feet difference.
Yeah, so somewhere in that neighborhood. So A full-blown subdivision road would be a 32-foot wide paved surface,
Okay.
two-way traffic, and then large, wide paved shoulders. We're not proposing that here. And with respect to any future project that's coming down the pipe, which, full disclosure, there was a phase 2 with a different party kind of developing the remainder portion of it. That is a completely separate project that will be permitted through the zoning board of appeals if they go for a comprehensive permit and back before the commission for another notice of intent. So what we're here before you right now is the North Star project, the driveway extension to here, and then obviously all the site development that's associated with that.
Does that answer your question?
My concern is, okay, you got your 24 feet driveway, and somebody 5 years from now comes along and says, well, that driveway's already there, why should we have to totally redo this thing, just add 10 feet onto it? Yeah.
For the rest of the development if it goes through? Okay.
Yeah. You know, sometimes foresight is...
Yeah, no, I mean, I've been on commissions in other towns, and there is certainly a thing called scope creep. While we can't address that here, we can only address what we have in front of us.
Okay.
All right?
All right.
But scope creep, it's a big issue, and I know it is, and I understand what you're saying, but we can only address that if it comes before us in the future. We can't address that now.
See, my personal thought is this should be all conservation land.
Well, it's not. I wish there was a lot more conservation land around myself. I belong to several organizations, but it's not, so.
Yeah.
If I may, I'm just curious, because the road here, so your wetland's starting down here though, right? So how far from the road is the wetland, was delineated as wetland?
Yeah, so it's kind of faint, but this is the wetland line right here.
So it does get reasonably close to the road, was it 20 feet?
No, it's going to be, I would say that distance right there is a good 50 feet from the edge of pavement. Where it gets closer to the wetlands is stormwater management. It's really the daylight grading from that berm that we were discussing about.
However wide it is, you're still going to have the same type of system to collect the water.
Exactly.
And the water still get to the wetland.
Exactly, yep.
Which means, I would believe, in my opinion at least, that the road is not end up within our jurisdiction as Conservation Commission, but the zoning board might. So as far as left hand and right hand, this right hand knows we don't, it's not ours.
Well,
I'm
Joe Leduc.
Joe. Once you please, not quite. I'll get you. I promise.
Okay, no, it's all right.
Brian, thank you for answering that. Did you get your question answered?
I also...
Oh, you all said, okay.
Thank you.
Now you.
I'm looking at the map on the
And, I'm sorry, state your name and address again.
My name's Joe Leduc. I'm her husband.
Okay.
The map on the bottom shows the road coming in and going up this way.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, yeah, okay.
Might be easier.
This is the wetland?
Yep.
How much is from here to here?
So,
And how much is here? You've got no variance here.
What is your concern, sir? Do you have a question?
Well, I think there's a state law and a federal law that says you cannot encroach on the wetland, period.
Well,
That's the way I read it.
It's a little more complicated than that, unfortunately. 'Cause the reason we have a conservation commission at all in the state is to prevent encroachment on wetlands. There are ways to build next to wetlands if you permit it correctly. So it's a little more complicated than that. There are developments all over the city that quote unquote encroach on wetlands. But they are designed and permitted so that the impact of the wetland is minimal, if any. And that's what we're trying to do here.
Okay, I understand that. I don't understand, you make a law and then you split it.
Don't think we are.
I can't shoot you, that's illegal.
I hope so.
But you get a variance, you're okay.
I get a variance to shoot you.
Different subject.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I just, it bothers me. It isn't going to affect my home, my property, one damn bit.
Yeah.
Because I'm a good 150 feet from it.
Yeah.
It's just that every time we get into this is the third round for us.
It's breaking up there, too.
And every time we get into this, this is what happens. The poor guy comes down, makes a presentation, and he gets shot down. Okay, that's what's gonna shoot it down is getting around the, unless I can find a tsetse fly or something that's living there that's gonna be really bad. But, you know, it doesn't affect me. And it's not gonna affect Robert, except Robert's not gonna be able to see the next street down. And, okay, if you wanna do it, do it. If it's perfectly legal to do, then I have no problem with that, I do, but it's just not gonna go on that way.
So, are you all set? I want to make sure that you've addressed this.
No, I'm all set, but I had to say something because
No, we appreciate
gut
it.
was turning over.
That's what these hearings are for. We appreciate it very much. Thank you. Rich, did you have something?
Yeah, well, we're here to listen.
Yeah.
I get my thought back.
Yeah, no, we honestly, I've been in these hearings dozens and dozens and dozens of times. We can't always, there's not always a way to respond effectively to people's concerns, but we at least, our goal is, at the very least, is to let you address us with your concerns.
That part
There may not be somebody, there may not be anyone we can react to it, but we at least want to give it a chance.
And what the law allows us to do, it is somewhat restricted. You were here through the evening, so you know, we do have authority within a certain zone adjacent to the wetland, and only up to that 100-foot border in that case. 200 feet around the river. Anything beyond that, we can't get into by law. It would be too overly burdensome to everybody.
Yeah,
And that as we get everybody who's close enough to, you know, wherever water drains.
Yeah.
In this case, that water is gonna get down, it's gonna go down that hill no matter what.
Well, it's 25 feet from the top down,
So, yeah,
this way.
yeah, it was quite wet down there.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that this was gonna make it worse, like dry it up or, and you know, maybe a little, I don't think there'll even be more water because it's only as much water as comes down onto that hill.
Correct.
And all of it's gonna get down to that bottom, one way or the other, whether you got your basin or not. Too much confidence is gonna do a whole lot of good. It'll grow some nice plants.
It will.
Right?
The deer will eat
I
them.
was just gonna say that.
Are there any deer in there?
Oh, we have deer.
Really? Interesting.
We have coyotes. I saw a bobcat this year, which is the first time I've seen a
Interesting.
bobcat.
No one doesn't think I'm going to Leominster to see deer, bobcat, and coyotes.
Right.
Oh, you do?
Well, no, this, exactly, I live right near you, not at least on that part of town, anyway.
I saw a bobcat, I limbed along the other day.
Well, the
Interesting.
deer love pasta.
I know that for a fact. I know, it's just an open salad call for them. Yeah, I'm sorry, Mr. Duke, you all set? Okay. Are there anybody else who wants to? Yes. Just state your name and address first, please.
Oh, I'm Bob Wiley. I'm probably the abutter that's gonna be, you know, most challenged by all of this, because I'm right next to everything. And,
And what, I'm sorry, what's your address? You didn't state that.
I'm at 8 Kinsman Avenue.
Okay.
He's right behind him.
Right up. Brian, was that the house you pointed at when we were?
Yeah, this is me right here.
Yep. Yeah.
This is this looks a lot farther apart than it is. My backyard is where you are. This building, the way they express it, that's gonna be from here, that's gonna be my border to that, that's what they're showing. Anyway. What bothers me, he brought it up, so I feel comfortable saying it myself. It's not just this, it's the next phase that's really bothering me.
Yeah.
This is just what I think of as a door opener. The company that wants, the company wants to come in and put 48 apartments back in here. That's the one that's going to be the most dramatic as far as the wetlands are concerned. I feel that they're using this company, North Star, as a door opener. That once they get their foot in the door, there's no stopping them. In other words, if this gets approved and the next phase comes along, wow, and that's going to be really dramatic. They're going to say, oh no, you've got to grant us all the variances we want now because you let them in there. That's the way we feel this is coming down, that this is kind of an underhanded thing to get the real project going, which would be phase two. And that's a real concern for me, because right now, you need a diving board back there. I can't think of what it's gonna be like when we got 48 apartments and we got this, and it's gonna be a nightmare. And we've been down this road before, and many times, the companies come in, they get all these ideas, and it's been rezoned about, I can't tell you, from, industrial to commercial to single zone, and whatever they want, they get it rezoned, and then it always hits a wall. Something shuts it down, and I'm only praying it's gonna shut this down. So, thank you for your time.
Well, we appreciate you coming down and saying, and addressing this. Thank you, sir. Ma'am, are you all set? Okay, just want to make sure. All right, unless there's anything else, I'll go ahead and close the public hearing portion of the meeting. Was there anything, Mark, was there anything in the,
Nothing else, but I did review this for DPW.
Yep.
And Hancock has addressed all our concerns with DPW.
okay, and there was nothing in the file from
Nothing I saw.
Nigel?
That's a left hand and talking to a right hand.
So it can happen?
Yeah, no, that's good. Yeah, that's good. No.
All right.
Keep you.
All right, then with that, again, I'll close the public hearing portion of the project. Normally, this is where I would ask Angela for her recommendation.
And I would recommend approval with the conditions.
Yeah, so with that, I'll entertain a motion to approve, issue a notice of intent for the project.
I'll make the motion to accept that. So we're accepting it, correct?
Correct, yeah.
The notice of intent with the standard conditions.
Standard conditions, correct.
Boilerplate, special conditions.
Yeah, I don't recall Angela talking about any special conditions.
Not beyond the.
Brian, has Angela been in touch with you about that at all? No? Okay. All right.
I think boilerplate should be on.
Okay, all right. So we get a motion, is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. Mark, this is where Angela would typically go around the horn and ask the rest of us for.
All right.
You go to me last. So yes.
So Rick,
I made the motion
for Mike.
And
And Elizabeth?
she seconded it, and I vote aye.
Sorry. All right.
We'll get better with practice.
Yeah, that was my first.
Have you looked at this? Have you, any of you looked on that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, no, but again, our jurisdiction only is the wetlands and the stormwater impacts to the wetlands. Future development has nothing to do with us.
I understand.
And-
But I mean, even this part, have you gone out physically looked at it?
Yep.
Yes,
You
sir.
have?
Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
It was very wet.
It was quite what they were out there.
It is.
The bears and the moose.
Didn't see any of those.
Yeah, they're out there
Well,
too.
yeah.
And then fox.
You could have the woodchucks, we don't give up.
If I can second your point, so to speak, is we are quite limited in terms of authority.
Yeah.
Is only impacts on the wetland, and within that one zone we talked about.
Right, and the project in front of us, not future.
Yeah.
If it comes to us, it'll come to us and we'll deal with that when it
Come
does.
back.
What's that?
They may have to come back, so.
Yeah, right. So anyways, but again, we appreciate you all.
I know what you're saying, I wouldn't object if North Star wanted to go out in the middle of that area and put that building.
Yeah.
And that was it, away from everybody, it wouldn't impact too much, but that's not what's happening.
Yeah.
And that's not great.
Okay,
It looks like
appreciate
you
it.
got, very close to those houses. Right?
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Alrighty, well, thank you, I appreciate your time very much. Thank you, Brian.
Okay, thanks. Appreciate it, Joe.
All right. Well, they cleared the room up.
It was all for yours.
They are hiring somebody, so maybe it'll be me the next one.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
All right, moving on, item D, pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Water Protection Act, Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the riverbank stabilization along the south bank of the National River. Address 230 Commercial Road, Leominster. I'm sorry, so they're kind of fast. 230 Commercial Road, Leominster. map and parcel 90-572-1, and there's no DP file number, so that is being continued. All right, yep. All right,
Is that holding up the project?
A little bit, but I mean, we've got, actually, I got an email from GZA today, they're saying they talked to the circuit rider, and they said probably within the next few days we'll get a number, so next meeting.
so Chair, next one, okay.
Yeah, if we don't get it next time, let's say something so we can.
Yeah, right.
Important project,
Yeah,
here,
right.
Get moving through.
It would be good to move that one forward, I agree.
I mean, the pipe's way away from the stream, so it's not an emergency.
Yeah.
And we have a grant, but they're, me and the FEMA is real good, they're saying if we need extension, they'll extend it, so.
Good to know.
All right, next one, item E. Cross that one off. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the replacement of a structurally deficient bridge. Address Litchfield Street roadway, Leominster, Mass, between map and parcels 482-2-12 and 441-88. DEP file number 199-1149.
I left them a message.
Nobody here, okay. So it means we need to continue it. Yeah, okay, all right. I was able to get out there after you folks had just left. I walked, I won't go into much detail we can here, but it looks like a project that kind of needs to happen.
It's horribly. We're doing it, John Roseberry from my office is leading it, but I'm not sure why tech isn't here.
Is there anything that why are we not proceeding with it right now?
I honestly,
That's up to the commission.
I would assume that if it's on the agenda, they were going to be here to present us something.
Well,
I assume that's why it was continued.
It was a continued for our site visit.
Oh, was that what it was? Is that why it was simply a
I
site
thought it was
visit?
for the site visit and that everything looked okay and I was ready to go and vote
Oh,
for it.
okay, well then.
I'd like to get things off the agenda.
Well, then I will, if I accidentally stepped in to continue it, then I withdraw my comment. And I will ask for a motion to approve the project as described and shown to us previously, and as we saw on the site visit, or any site visit you happen to have been on, well, with the standard boilerplate order of conditions. With that, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make that.
Oh, I heard Liz first.
Yes.
So Liz.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, and
I'll
second.
second that motion.
Thank you, Michael.
I'll vote aye.
Rick, yeah.
To Rich.
And I vote aye as well.
All right.
So you can give them the good news.
Yeah, I'll let John.
Yeah, that thing, like I said, I got the just after Michael and Angela left, I was walking around that, there was some spots, I don't know how the bridge is even still on.
I know.
So.
And there's a gas line under there too.
Yeah.
As I recall, stay safe and get it done. That's what
Yeah, we're getting this,
Yeah.
next thing we gotta do is get funding for it.
That always helps. But,
Thank you.
Infrastructure Act, can you get money from that?
Yeah, we're looking into it.
Okay, all right. Yeah, and they're widening the stream.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's gonna be 20 feet.
Oh, yeah, it'll be nice.
Yeah, good, all right. All right, moving on then.
Was that the one that had the questions about the the navigation and the section?
Oh, yeah,
navigable waters, yeah.
Yeah.
But as far as I know, it's not navigable.
As I recall, the determination was that it really wasn't.
They were saying it wasn't navigable.
Yeah.
I did have a comment if they were here, so I guess I'll say it for the record.
Yeah.
The 18 inches that they thought was a minimum. No, you can go. You can certainly navigate much lower than that. And as any canoeist or kayak or whatever, they were saying it had to be 18 inches. Yeah, and so they were calling it not navigable. However, there were other things that did make it not navigable, such as the two little tubes you had to get through with the the conduits going through it. So no argument on that. But as a canoeer, I can do 3 inches, 4 inches.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, you bet. Thank you. Moving on to the last of the continued hearings. Pursuant to Mass General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Massachusetts Wetlands Protection Act, the Leominster Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing on a notice of intent regarding the installation of a pool and equipment in the existing yard. Address 9 Kendall Hill Road, Leominster, Mass, map and parcel 514-57. DP file number 199, and you told me it was 1150, correct, Mark?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. I think this was continued just for the site visit we
Correct. I talked to him, he just asked that ask the commission if they could close and approve it, because he said all he was waiting was for the, for the file number.
You're waiting for the file.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and I know we've discussed this a couple times with the site walk. And I don't recall any particular, I think we stated any potential special conditions.
No.
At the last one, in terms of like leaving that berm there.
And the vegetation that's there. leave
Yeah,
that alone.
correct, yeah.
You had talked about vegetation types.
Right, exactly, yeah.
Site.
Yeah.
You expressed your preferences, so I'm not sure what to put in motion in that regard, but.
Yeah, no, I think the only, other than that, the only special condition I would say would be if you're gonna be putting in plants to use some type of native planting list. I think that was about it. No any foreign and or foreign invasives. All right, then, so I'll then entertain a motion to approve the project as described previously, and as we saw on the site visit with the boilerplate and the few special conditions that we just stated.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Rich.
Elizabeth?
Vote aye.
Aye.
We should get together in person more often.
I know, right? These things up.
I'm not sure if that's in there.
All right. Moving on. There's nothing under new business? Nothing on, oh, sorry.
Something under new business, question.
Shoot.
Who's gonna lead us and what's happening?
Oh, then I will, I will let that continue. Go ahead.
I talked to Michelle Nato today. She said they were interviewing today, and from what she said, there's 2 good applicants. You know, it looks like there's 2 good applicants, good prospects. So that's what I heard.
Okay.
So I haven't found anything else yet.
Yeah, I came in yesterday to try to get my head around what's going on, because nobody told me anything. So I saw Michelle as well, and she indicated the same thing, that they are actively interviewing at least 2 people.
Yeah, at least. It was at least.
Yeah.
They said 2 were really good
Yeah.
resumes.
So
you running the spot in the meantime?
Yeah, I said I'd sit in. The dean asked me, and I said I don't mind. Only because I've been to a lot of meetings. I was a civil engineer for 23 years, so I've been to many meetings.
So you did a good job.
Thanks.
Yeah, depending on how all this plays out, we're probably gonna need you for the next
We
year
might,
as well.
because depending on how the exact, somebody has to give a 2-week notice.
2 week notice, right. So hopefully by the 24th of May, hopefully there'll be somebody new in, that we can break in.
Okay.
All right.
All right, yeah, that's
You all set, Rich, with new business? Okay.
Well, here we're heading somewhere.
Yeah.
Heading somewhere, right. All right, nothing on old business, nothing under certificates of compliance. Extension permits, 96 Exchange Street, Herring's Landing 2, 199-1061. Extended expiration 7/3/2022, continuing until springtime. And again, I haven't heard anything about that, so.
They're working on it, and they'll have to construct.
Yeah. I guess we'll have to continue that as well under extension permits. All right, to my knowledge, nothing under communications, nothing under meeting minutes. Hopefully we'll get the new commissioner on board, a new agent on board, and hopefully that part-time intern that Angel was looking for, that we can start performing some of these minutes and get them approved.
There was a couple letters, I didn't have a lot of time to read them today from a butters of, I can't remember the exact location, it's in the office, but we maybe should read them next time. They're just saying that somebody's doing something
Okay.
not right on that lot.
Yeah.
On North Street, it was up on North Street, and they had a little map on it, they must have been working together, two abutters that both had the same map on their thing showing that, and they said that somebody's doing something.
All right, if you can bring it.
Yeah, I'll bring it to that.
Okay, all right, please, that'd be great.
Chuck?
Yes.
Are we short on commissioners? What's our current status there since we're talking personnel and agents?
I need to get some confirmation on that myself, because obviously Jeff didn't show up tonight, but he's 5. But there would be other 2 people, Amanda Lansing, who was
she was the chair.
She was
the chair.
Leave, so
And from what last I heard from Angela was that she was probably going to resign her position on the commission, because she was difficult for her to get daycare.
we'd love her to get back, but it would be good to know one way or the other.
No, I agree. And then there's this other individual who's on the commission, has never showed up.
Kenneth Ridley?
Yes, that's
Yeah, I
it.
got the name on the website.
Never showed up. And the last, I think I recall from Angela that he was waiting for the meetings to go to in person. Well, he's not here tonight. So I am going to, whenever the new agent starts, I'd like to have them do what they can to either get these people either to join or leave. Yeah, you gotta make a decision.
Okay, that's the point way to word it, right?
Yeah, because
I thought there was another one or two in the pipeline too.
I don't know. There might be. That'd be great.
I haven't heard. That was us for a while.
Because I know
We were in the
they
pipeline for a long time.
added two extras.
Mhm.
Might be another person, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
Because
know.
obviously we could use more. We have missed a meeting and,
Yeah.
you know, we could use the fifth voter to know.
Yeah, we could use that fifth voter time, yeah, absolutely. So nothing under communication, nothing under meeting minutes. Enforcement, new one, 803 Pleasant Street. There's been substantial work done in the riverfront and buffer zone that was unpermitted. There was also work done under an older order of conditions that was never recorded, creating a violation. Apparently, I guess it was Angela spoke with the DEP, and the applicant had, after the last meeting, need to amend the enforcement order. Do we know anything about that, Mark?
Again, I'll bring it, there's a communication, but I didn't have time to open all the mails.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay.
But
All right.
there's something from a lawyer for the people who own it now.
Okay. So if you can bring that.
I'll bring it to
Okay.
you.
All right. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
And continue another. So that was a new one. Continued. Waiting on permits to be filed / no action to be taken. Peninsula on Lakeshore Drive bank running due to past alteration.
I should recuse myself.
Yes, thank you.
And, yeah, I was gonna ask, the riprap has been put in place.
It has, okay.
And, all of the erosion controls are in place.
Yeah.
I think what we should do, what I'd like the commission to do is consider that part of the order of conditions, that was just filed.
Yep.
And take that, we can take it off of this list, and then it would be part of the general improvements that I'm going to be doing there, because it's all tied together.
Okay.
And I think that would make the most sense for everybody, me included.
Okay.
Work is going to start slowly in the next week with the removal of the leaning trees and other things that were approved.
Right.
And then I can, after I get that done, then I can start to finish the rest of the bank and get the plantings in.
Okay.
That's the first step.
Okay. So you said you add the ripraps in, and what else did you say has already been done?
And the erosion control.
Erosion control.
Yeah.
So Mark, if you can see if you add that to the order of conditions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So this is one that already has an order on it?
Yeah.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that's on Lakeshore Drive. Michael's a homeowner, and he's actually the applicant, which is why he has to recuse himself. All right, good. So that's fine. Do you want to?
And I will rejoin the meeting.
Thank you very much. All right, 9 Kendall Hill Road. That's one we just did, right?
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's all set. And 1775 Block Drive. That's one at the industrial area at the end of the street. Additional and alteration to riverfront area. I drove by there. I didn't go walk out back, but I drove by there yesterday. They're still parking trucks way out there. So that's something I'd like to have the whenever the new agent comes on board, have him or her go out as soon as he or she can. Just want to take a look at that, because like I said, there's
still way out that?
It looked like it. Like I said, I didn't go out there. I just kind of drove by the front, kind of stopped and peeked out back.
What was the time frame, Chuck, for what they were gonna do? We approved them doing something, or the order.
Yeah, they've been approved.
Yeah, I
They're clean up a
I saw
little bit.
planning.
Yeah, they're gonna pull that stuff back at a certain distance. Right?
Should we ask for an update? Or is that?
I think that'd be good. Yeah.
I can try and.
So, yeah, if you
Since you
reach
saw
out,
something,
yeah,
even if we're not.
yeah, if you reach out to the applicant and it was Mara was the
Yeah, Matt.
consultant. Yeah, Matt Mara. Yeah. If you reach out to them and find out, that'd be great.
Okay.
Like I said,
No pressure, no rush, just want to know what the status is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like I said, I drove by yesterday and it looked like there was still parking trucks back. I could have been wrong because I didn't actually walk out back, but yeah, that'd be good.
Okay.
All right, moving on, under emergency certifications, 144 West Street. Pipe burst under asphalt causing erosion and water to back up. You know anything about that,
I
Mark?
don't know anything about that. I saw that actually.
Okay.
She gave the cert? She gave the certification?
She must have, yeah.
Yeah, I would assume
I
so.
assume she did. I didn't see anything in there. So.
These seem like DPW issues also.
Yeah, no, I did too. I was like, it wasn't us.
All right. And 952 Union, I assume that's Union Street.
Yep.
Tree fell over stream during last storm. Again, my guess these are probably just FYIs for us, just letting you know that she took care of those, but if you could just look into it and let us know.
I'll see if I can find anything.
Okay.
I know that tree was cleaned up, there's other work being done.
Was it? Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Nothing under budget.
Budget, question.
Yes?
What's our budget? That's a rookie question. Do we have a budget?
There is, I think, a small one, but I'm not sure what it is.
And it's hard to get to,
Yeah.
or something, yeah.
I'd like to know what
It's gotta
our,
be right in there.
Yeah, the bags of gold.
I'm sure I can look it up on, like, I usually look up things on the, I can look up Munis, and I can try and find it.
I'd like to know what our budget is and, you know, what it's, and what we can
It's
use.
not a bad bit of information to have.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's something that when the new commissioner comes up, the commissioner, the
I'm
new
sure they
agent
need
comes
to
on
know
board, that's a conversation we should have.
Oh, and one thing.
Rich wants a badge, that's what he wants.
We're supposed to have nameplates, but I don't know if they're on order, but no badge, I don't need a badge. Yeah, I work with the trail stewards, or volunteer with the
Yep.
trail stewards, so I was questioning where they were trying to do some fundraising to come up with some equipment they were
Yeah.
using to maintain the trails, so
Yeah.
I was asking if there's a budget for that, and there is not necessarily.
Yeah.
But just in a general sense, it'd be good to know, and
What is the
what is it,
current budget? Yeah.
what can we do with it within our
They
authority?
said the new person's gonna need to know anyways.
Because we do manage some of the conservation lands fall under us, as well as the wetlands and the rivers.
Yeah, yeah. No, good question.
Later.
Perfectly valid point. I agree with you.
Thank you.
All right, you're welcome. Thank you. All right, so that with that, the next meeting is Tuesday, May 10th. The deadline for filing was this past Friday at noon. With that, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I'll make the motion.
Thank you, Liz.
I will second that motion.
Thank you, Michael.
I will vote aye.
And I vote aye.
It's automatic.